Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a digital firestorm that blew up out of a carnival party in Trinidad. It was all thanks to one viral video and a party name that, let's be honest, was practically asking for attention: Stink and Dutty.
So here's the scene. The event was called Stink plus Dutty, and it went down at the Chaguaramas heliport in Trinidad. Now you have to understand that name itself is a whole vibe. Stinky and dirty, it's a classic theme for Jouvert-style carnival parties where you're just meant to embrace the mess, the paint, the mud, the water, all of it.
So from this party, one short video clip, just one moment of a woman celebrating with total wild abandon, goes viral, like instantly. And the reaction that followed? It was anything but simple. It ignited a fierce, and I mean fierce, debate online.
And when I say debate, I'm not talking about a few different opinions. No, the reaction online was immediate, and it created this huge chasm, splitting the internet into two very distinct, very passionate camps.
On one side, you had this massive outcry of disgust and shame. People were dropping comments calling the behavior classless and really questioning her character. But on the other side, you had this incredibly passionate defense of freedom, of personal choice, and of the unique cultural space that is carnival.
All right, so let's dig into the critics first. Let's break down the arguments from the people who were just completely outraged by this video. What was really at the root of all that judgment?
A whole lot of the criticism came from this moral or kind of religious angle. You saw tons of comments just like this one. Whatever happened to your body is a temple, which really suggests a belief that she was violating some kind of sacredness or self-respect. Then you had another group of people arguing that this moment was a sign of carnival culture going downhill. For them, even with the famously anything-goes atmosphere of carnival, this particular act crossed a line. It wasn't traditional fun anymore, it was just vulgarity.
And oh man, this was a huge one. So many critics immediately brought up her potential role as a mother, or an aunt, or just a family member. The idea was that her public behavior was irresponsible and was setting a terrible example.
And this is where the party's own name, Stink and Dutty, basically became a weapon for the critics. They took the name completely literally, and they used it to comment on the perceived hygiene of the whole thing. Making remarks about germs, rust, you name it.
Okay, but for every critical comment, there was someone else jumping in to defend her. And believe me, they were just as fired up, firing right back against that huge wave of judgment with a totally different perspective.
The absolute heart of the defense really boiled down to this one simple, powerful idea. You only get one life, so live it for you. The defenders were basically saying, why are you looking for validation from strangers? They're going to judge you no matter what you do.
Now here's something really interesting that kept popping up in the comments. The fact that her husband was there. His presence and the fact that he seemed to be smiling and totally supportive was used over and over again as the ultimate trump card against any outside judgment.
And this comment just sums that feeling up perfectly. The argument was pretty straightforward. If her own partner is there and is totally cool with what she's doing, then why should the opinion of some random person on the internet matter at all? It kind of frames it as a private issue between a couple, even though it's happening in a public space.
A lot of people were also quick to put the whole moment in its proper cultural context. They kept saying, hello, this is carnival. The argument is that carnival is this unique temporary zone where the normal rules of society just don't apply, and behavior that might be shocking anywhere else is just part of the celebration. Wow, this comment, it's powerful because it really gets to the heart of a growing divide. It's a direct shot at the digital audience. It's drawing a clear line in the sand between the people who are actually out there participating in these cultural events and those who just sit back and judge from behind a screen.
So let's zoom out for a second, because this is the crucial point. This whole firestorm isn't really just about one party or one viral video. This entire debate is a window into some really deep tensions that are just simmering in our super connected modern world.
When you peel back all the layers of angry comments, what you see is a clash over these huge questions. Where is the line between cultural expression and what some people call public decency? What's the difference between body confidence and body shaming? And maybe the biggest question of all, what is the role of this new, always-watching digital audience in policing how we act?
So, after sifting through hundreds of comments and two totally opposite ways of seeing the world, what's the big takeaway here? Well, this whole episode is basically a perfect snapshot of a very, very modern problem.
The fiery debate over Stink and Dutty really leaves us with this fundamental question about what it means to live in public in the digital age. In a world where a private moment can become global news in a heartbeat, all the old boundaries are just gone. And all of us, as this giant collective audience, are still trying to figure out what the new rules are, or if there are even any rules at all.